Alright, I think we're good. Just need to set up the music and we should be ready to start. There we go. Lower that slightly so it's not overly in our ears. Welcome to the stream. For those of you who are watching offline, hello. Today we are going to be working on finishing up the flying fish illustration. It's mostly just rendering at this point. We'll see how I go about rendering her face, because I think the fish is pretty good. We might need to add a slight couple more details, but I think overall we're finished with the fish. It's just kind of everything else. And without further ado, I think we can get started. Alright, let me just reacquaint myself with all of my freaking layers. Alright, that was some of my detail layers. That was a highlight, shadow, fish, girl. Yeah, okay. So I'll primarily be working on that layer for now. Okay, sounds good. I hope everyone's day has been going well. My day's been pretty good. What would happen if I moved it there? I don't think that changed much, shading wise. Okay. Yeah, my day's been pretty dang good. I went on a walk today with my friend, and we saw some frogs. But even more exciting, we saw a snake. He was a little well, he wasn't little. He was a pretty big snake. A decent sized snake. Good fellow. Enjoyed him very much. He was sunning himself on a rock in the river. Nice little water snake. But I also gave the children access to slime. I was kind of worried, so the recipe I have for creating slime is as follows: baking soda, saline solution, and cornstarch. And see, I forgot the cornstarch. So I was a bit concerned about making the slime, because this is the project that we're doing. I kind of need to get this to work. Thankfully, you can just make slime with baking soda and saline solution. So we're saved there. Was it the best time to learn that information? Probably not. But I'm glad I learned it anyhow. I'm just glad it worked. It would have been so upsetting if the children didn't. It was like their last day too, so it would not have been a good look. To have them not not have a working project. Oh, so if you're wondering what I'm working on right now, here, let me zoom in for you because I'm kind of focusing in on her face. Alright, there we go. Thankfully, the technique worked, so we didn't have to deal with bored children and broken promises. Nothing is worse than having bored children on broken promises. They get cranky and upset. Upsetty spaghetti. Which, that's fair. I would also be annoyed if there was supposed to be a project we were doing and I couldn't do it because the person whose job it was to help us with the project didn't grab all of the materials needed. Mm. Oh, hello there. Hello. I just like dropped down my view to see if we had any people in, and it like spiked up to 5. So that was fun. Hello, Bill. How are you? I hope you're doing well. How do you want this? I feel like a lot of what I'm going to be doing is subtle details, which I guess that's fine. Good, debating if I should be here. What do you mean debating? Debating as in you have other things you need to do? Or are you questioning your decision of being here? Because you should never question your decision on joining a stream. It's never a mistake to join the stream. I wish there was a way that I could have good video quality with the latency not being as... I wish the latency could be better, because depending on how you do it, you can get almost immediate responses from people without the chat lag. It feels slightly awkward to wait for a reply. Because I don't want to like move on too quickly on a different topic and then not understand what you're saying just because I moved on too quickly. That happens way too often. YouTube resets their free movies the first of the month. I don't know if the movie I'm supposed to be watching right now is going to be removed in 3.5 hours. Ah, I see. That's new info for Alyssa. Did not realize that they did that. Good to know. And I'm guessing that they don't tell you which movie is going to be removed and which one is going to be free. Because why would they tell you? How long does it take you to see a message and respond? That's hard to gauge. Because with that message specifically for you, you took a little bit to write it because it's a longer message. But I would say it's about 30 seconds. I think that would be the amount of time. I mean, if you want to help me out with it, I could set a timer. Alright, I have my timer set up. So your job will to be type some random letter and just put it into the chat. And then we'll see how long it takes to go. So 3, 2, 1, go. It'd be kind of silly if you weren't participating and I was just... Okay, that took about 7 seconds. 7 to 8 seconds. So I guess it's not that bad. I'm just being silly about it. There's also the lag of just typing in a response, which I guess adds it in. It's not as bad as I thought it was. It just doesn't have the immediacy of talking with someone over a call. I'm erasing the yellow marks because I was originally doing this over the highlights, which then that made sense. But I think this would be better done if I just had the highlights highlighting. Help my sanity at least on this. 800 miles in 8 seconds. You know, that's pretty good actually. What crazy chaos should we talk about today? Bill, were you here for when I start talking about the snake? Because I could talk about the snake again. He was pretty cute. Snake beloved. Highlights to the nose. One of these days I'll figure out rendering and I will be unstoppable. But for now, I'm slowly chugging along, trying to figure it out. Back in my day, we had to live stream over Telegraph. This is nothing. Did you talk about it today? I like briefly started talking about it, but no one was really here, so I wasn't sure if... I think I could talk about the snake. Yeah, let's talk about the snake again. Only one person, well, the people who are watching offline might be annoyed that I'm repeating topics, but that's okay. So the snake, I went on a walk with my friend today, and we went to a nearby park that has a river, and this river has a dam. And because of that, there's like water creatures, and one of those water creatures was a snake. He was a very lovely fellow. Hello, Chris. Welcome. Yeah, so we went on a walk and saw a lovely little water snake sitting on the rocks. He was a cutie patootie, sunning himself in like trying to. He was like crouched in such a way that he was avoiding getting wet by the river. Very cute. I think I was the first person to spot him because after I mentioned it, after I said, "Oh, a snake," then a whole bunch of people came over to take a look at him. I also saw some frogs. It was kind of fun because I was looking in an area where I knew frogs would be, so then I was able to then play it. I guess it was like a searching game of sorts where I just looked for frogs. That's cool. I haven't seen a snake in a while, but we do have a turtle pond nearby, and it's getting warm enough that they come out onto shore sometimes. Did I describe the snake as a crouching snake? He's not actually crouching. He's kind of curled. He's curled up on a rock. So he's coiled around a rock. That's what he's doing. So this is usually why I make all of the layers the same for rendering like this. I want to blend, and I can't because they're on separate layers. It's really unfortunate. It makes a lot more sense. Sorry about my bad wordage. It happens. And then when I came home, we had tasty dinner. My dad made some steak and potatoes with asparagus. I made my steak into a sandwich. And that was a pretty dang tasty dinner. It shows, but it holds up pretty well. Sir Hiss from Disney's Robin Hood could shrug his shoulders. Crouching snakes are valid. Maybe a crouching snake would be something along the lines of they're like stood up, but they're also like slightly hunched over. Maybe that could be considered a crouching snake. Like a cobra. Yeah! Yeah! Like that. I could probably cover this bit of the hair in shadow just because. Hair. The neck. Neck in shadow because. Hair. I'm focusing this long on rendering her face. I fear I'll take too long, which is not the goal. So, other fun thing, I've been really working hard at making the crows because Comic Con is coming up very soon. Speaking of that, I should probably make a community post about that. Show people where I'm going to be located. Anyway, I have been working on a bunch of crows. Currently, I have 31 bodies with, I'd say about 18 to 20 of them finished. I can't remember the top of my head which ones are finished. Though I do need to add feet to the finished ones. So they're not completely finished, but they're getting there. We're getting close. I think I also need to add a couple faults. Hello! Hello, Luna. Welcome. We are continuing work on flying fish illustration from last week. I don't think you were there for that, but welcome. I'll show the full piece in a sec. We're just kind of focusing on the face at the moment. I have no idea if I have any followers who are coming. I mean, I think my friends are following me, but I don't think that counts. Because they were people I met before. So I don't think that counts. For follower-wise. Who's going? Maybe if I pull the hair a bit more forward, this will look slightly less odd. Maybe, perhaps, perchance. Maybe I'm just looking at it weird, and it's fine. Maybe I'm just judging it, and it's good. Currently I am using Photoshop, but I also occasionally use Procreate. Just depends on what I'm doing. Been using Procreate a lot more for drawing. Photoshop is kind of necessary, or at least a computer art program is kind of necessary for streaming because I'm using a Windows computer, and I don't think my iPad would like it very much if I tried to cross the great divide that is computer and software companies, technology companies, to record my iPad screen. If I was drawing on my iPad, I think I could use my MacBook to stream, but I think it's slightly easier to stream from my desktop. Currently, the only times I stream on my MacBook is if we are doing an in-person stream. Yeah, I'm sure there's a way to do it. I just haven't figured it out yet. I get the feeling I need to use my MacBook to stream if we were doing an iPad stream. And I think part of the issue with streaming from your iPad, this might be a non-issue, but I think one of the issues is that it's laggy or it doesn't quite work. I'm not sure. There was some sort of issue, I believe, with it. I know my friend is able to do it, but she also preferred to stream from her laptop when possible. You can't even see the area I'm working on right now. I moved on over to the head. Or, not head. I moved over to the hand. Not the head. Hand. You don't have to use Photoshop, though. I only use it because I pay for the Adobe Creative Cloud for specifically InDesign for my book projects. And since I'm paying for that, I just use it. If you're looking for a good free art program, I've heard that Krita's very good. So you don't have to pay for it. It's pretty darn good for an art program that's free. And yeah, if you're looking to get better at digital art, definitely don't pay for the $50. I think it's $55 a month for it. Yeah, if start with a free program first. Yeah, Clip Studio Print, I've heard is also very good. Yeah. Just because I use it doesn't mean you have to. The only reason why I use it is I felt like I didn't really have another option professionally. Because some of the clients I work with, sometimes they want the files shared, or they want like me using a specific program, and unfortunately for me, at the moment, Adobe is the industry standard. That's why they're acting the way they are. Because they think they can get away with it. Yeah, but the thing I'm going for, like, yeah, you can get the photography plan for Photoshop, and that's way less expensive than paying for the Adobe Creative Cloud. But I use too many of the programs to not to not pay for the subscription. Hello, Crow. Welcome to the stream. It's been a bit since you've joined. Happy to have you. Yeah. It's like, suddenly you're... It's the weird thing about art college, too, is like, they give you the entire program, and it's great. And then you use all of them, and you figure out all of the niche uses you can have in order to make it good. And it's great, except now it's your work process, and now that it's your work process, you can't imagine another way to do it. And there's like some specific settings that I like to use that I wouldn't be able to use in another adjacent program, because that's a specific to that program kind of thing. I'm specifically talking about Illustrator and their image trace tool. I haven't worked with vectors all that much until I realized I didn't have to draw in a vector. I could draw outside of the program, bring it in, and have it draw it for me by just scanning a line art drawing, and then I can continue on. But now my drawing's a vector. Great tool. Fantastic. Love that. For a while now, I've been drawing on Flip-a-Clip. Sadly, I'm broke and I'm only allowed to use 3 layers at most. Very excited for more layers. I used Flip-a-Clip at one point. It was a pretty darn good program, at least animation-wise. I didn't push it to its limits, though. I did hear that they started charging for it, which I guess makes sense. I do wonder if my Kindle got grandfathered into having more of this stuff, just because they had a paid-for version and a free version that was less expensive than their monthly subscription. And that got rid of the... I can't remember if there was ads or not, but it like gave me something. And I paid for that. So I wonder if that Kindle got grandfathered in. Yes, that has been my saving grace with Illustrator. Like, I could never use it until I realized I could use all of the features without drawing in it. And then it became infinitely better to me. Coloring in it still, depending on what kind of coloring you're doing, can still kind of suck. If you're doing cell shading and flat colors, pretty darn good. If you're looking for a more illustrative, blended, painterly look, yeah, that's not happening. Just go back to Photoshop. That feature has also saved a couple of my projects too, because I worked on a book project, and the illustrator because I wasn't the illustrator on that project, at least initially, the person who was working on it, the illustrations, either she didn't know what size to make them, or she just didn't pay attention to what size they needed to be, but some of the elements were too small for the size that my client wanted them on the page. So in order to get it to actually be at printing size and not like just be a disaster, I took the illustrations into Illustrator and vectorized them, and then I was able to make them the size that I wanted to, and it worked out great. I started working on another portion of the drawing that you can't see. How silly of me. Here we go. Now you can see. Yeah, print needs a much higher DPI. That's a huge time saver. Yes. Yes. It was great. Dumb question. What resolution is real life? I could not tell you. I could not tell you, bud. All I know is that the printing DPI is 300. And if it's a higher DPI than that, then you're more free to resize it bigger. So if you scan something at 600 DPI, that means you can make it 2 times bigger than it actually is and still print it and have it look good. I think this entire arm just needs to be, or at least this entire part of the arm needs to be shadowed. Yeah, there we go. We can transition that from a different, yeah, there we go. doing whatever it is you're doing. And then we can blend. Maybe I need to find a different blending brush, because this works, but I'm not sure if I'm the biggest fan of how it blends. It's one thing it's one of the things I like better about Procreate. I think Procreate has some better blending brushes. Photoshop's blending brushes are kind of eh. At least some of the default ones. I've downloaded other brushes. Sometimes it's hard to make your way through all of them and test them. And with the yeah. Okay. Oh, fun thing. So my Thursday class of kids have been so rowdy that the teacher had complaints because despite my best efforts, the children have defied me and have messed up the teacher's room a little bit. So now I'm getting help from another one of my coworkers. The, honestly, I would be kind of embarrassed as a child if your class was so bad that they had to call in reinforcements. Either that or it'd be a point of pride that you, like, wore down the teachers so much that you had to, that they needed extra help. I don't know. It was just, that class is a lot. Oh, dang it. The kids asked today for, they wanted to, because they asked what my YouTube channel was. And I told them I would give my business card to them. And then I completely forgot because we were running late. Probably for the best. I don't need like a whole bunch of 6-year-olds following my channel. Because not that I am going to be like a whole bunch of heavy swearing and whatnot on my work. Also kind of don't want to be concerned about random children joining in. Kids can be rough at times. I have a little sister who's amazing but super energetic. Yeah, I think that's half the problem, is they've been sitting in class all day. All day. And then just as they're given a moment of reprieve, just as we are going to get started, or like, just as they're free, then they're given another sit-down assignment where they need to focus and do something. And it's more fun, I would say, than normal schoolwork, but it's still technically sitting work. And I'm sure they're very antsy. So I don't blame them for being so energetic. I just wish they were a little bit nicer about listening to not that like yeah. I can't blame them, but also this one class has not been very respectful to the teacher's classroom, which is upsetting because it's not mine, and I don't know if it's changed at all, but teachers oftentimes spend a lot of their own money to fill up classrooms and making them a nice space to be. Don't want to mess it up, because that feels rude. I'm gonna assume your honestly valid is in response to me being like, I don't want a bunch of 6-year-olds following my channel. At least, I don't want them to become my core audience. That sounds stressful. I don't know how the other YouTubers do it, but I feel like it's a large responsibility to be making content for children. If you do it wrong, you could give them weird values. And I don't want to give them weird values. Agreed. The children don't need weird values. They're already strange. I say that as I'm actively planning out a animated TV show that would probably be TVYA. Y7, TVY7. Just because that's probably the demographic that would go for that kind of show. I probably don't need to go too crazy with the rendering on the shirt, just because I think a lot of it will be carried by the... A lot of it will be carried by words. I have some like shadow and highlight layers, so I think a lot of it will be carried by that, so I don't need to worry too hard about rendering it. I just wanted to do some slight stuff. We're gonna attempt the lasso rendering technique. All of the great digital artists use it. It'll be fun. Fun thing about this technique is you can't really see what I'm doing until I put down the color. I don't know if that's fun for you, but it's slightly silly for me. Just need to make sure I'm following the outline of my previously established colors, else we will be in trouble. Thank you! I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm having a pretty good time with it too. This started as me finding something silly to illustrate, and then it turned into me practicing my rendering techniques. At least lineless rendering techniques. Have you guys noticed that drivers are kind of being dumb? Like, I don't know, maybe dumber. I don't have much frame of reference for how drivers were before, but they keep doing silly decisions on the road that I think are kind of dangerous. Like, I'm on the highway, okay? And I'm going my allotted 5 miles above the speed limit. We're doing 75. I think perfectly acceptable speed to go. And then there's people going like 80, 85 behind me. They like go to pass me. That's fine. If you want to go faster and pass me, that's fine. Whatever. Maybe not the best decision, but like also, who am I to judge? Whatever. But the people who pass me on the right, I feel like that's not supposed to. I feel like that's not what you're supposed to do. Like, I'm kind of concerned about it. Like, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to pass people on the right. Especially if you're going super fast. Like, the left lane is open, my guy. I'm in the middle lane. Why are you passing me on the right? Or and then the people who dodge and weave through traffic because apparently they want to go super fast. Also kind of annoying. What are you doing? Absolutely. Yesterday, this dude cut my dad off or something with more cars very close by. Yeah. Also, I've noticed, I don't know if this is like, this has always been a thing, but what was it? The turn signals. Why aren't people using their turn signals? I don't understand. This is for the benefit of all. Why are you not using it? I would like to argue you are being a danger to society if you're not using your turn signals. I'm very tempted to beep at them, but I don't think it'll do anything. I don't know if they'll learn the errors of their way by me beeping at them for something they've already dedicated their life to doing. But some people get really aggressive about being perceived in a negative light. I don't know. Some people are crazy on the world. I'm just trying to do my best. And they're over here being weird. Some people should not be driving. But unfortunately, at least where I live, it's a car-centric society. If you aren't driving, you're not independent. Or at least not as independent as you could be. Which leads into my... See, I have several things I would go to war towards. And one of those being big lifted trucks. Who decided that every single person who has a truck, one, either needs just a big truck in general, because even the stock height of these trucks are really tall. I don't know why they're so tall. And then all my favorite songs on. But I'm ranting about trucks. Okay, we'll take a break from ranting about trucks to enjoy the song. I think this album is very underrated because it sounds lovely, but also not many views, especially on Broom. Broom only has 36,000 views on it, which I think is a darn shame. It should have more. Okay, back to my truck debate. Well, debate would mean that I'm talking with someone and trying to, in favor of my position, argue against them, when I think I don't know. Maybe a couple of you share my opinions. Anyway, trucks are too tall. Not only, like, not only do they start super tall, but also, why is it there's so many people getting lifted trucks? Like, I understand the point of them in the sense that it's supposed to be better for off-roading to have your car be up taller. I understand that. However, most people who get their trucks lifted, or at least I feel like a lot of them who get their trucks lifted, don't go off-roading. They have no reason to be lifting their truck. They're just doing it because they think it's cool. So then these giant trucks, they're too tall. And because they're taller, also, their lights are higher. And with their lights higher, then it's harder to see. Because look at that. They're right behind you, screaming. Like, just bright, bright lights in front of you. Isn't that lovely? I don't find it lovely. But isn't it so lovely? So great. Yes, you're right there. Big boy, right there. Isn't that great? Yeah. So, giant truck. And it always feels like the people who have kind of the worst driving instincts are the people who get it too. The people who want to go faster, who want to not pay attention to their turn signals, who, like, do more risky driving maneuvers, are the people who get higher trucks, which is bad for casual people who driving, because trucks are heavier, and if they're more likely to be in an accident, then they're going to cause more damage to smaller cars, which means then people don't want to get smaller cars because now they have to deal with all of the random trucks on the road. And if more people are driving taller cars, not only is the fuel mileage going to be worse, it's also going to be overall more dangerous because all the cars are heavier. I feel very strongly on this. Then even for the people who want to buy smaller cars, it's harder to find a smaller car because everyone wants bigger cars now. I'm just saying, the ideal vehicle is a hatchback from the 2000s because they're nice and small, but you can still haul a decent amount of things. Like, I was able to move out of my college dorm one year with just my car. And it worked out great. So if more cars could be hatchbacks, I think we would win. And they should not be SUVs. Like, in general, SUVs, they're fine, I guess. They're a bit bigger than I would want a car to be. It's just everyone's doing an SUV. There's like a lack of imagination with these cars. Honestly, the ideal car would be no car. Trucks scare me. That is completely fair. I feel like, at the very least, they need a slightly different license type. Because what is that? What is that? That's a tall boy. So that's one of the items on my list of things I would go to war against. Reasons I would start a war. War against tall trucks. Next item on the list, grass. Scooters are very fun. Next item on the list of things I would go to war towards, grass. I'm sorry. Is the best we can do a monoculture yard that serves almost no benefit to the surrounding environment? I get it. Having a grass lawn is a very easy way to get a yard looking nice, or at least a commercially easy way to get your yard looking nice, because since everyone has a grass lawn, there's a huge market and buying power of that. Lots to do. Grass does feel nice to lay in, and it's like, it's not the existence of grass lawns that's like the issue. I feel like if we were to implement them better, they'd be fine. Like parks, completely understand why if we have grass lawns. It's a high tread kind of grass plant. Like you can run on it and walk on it, and it doesn't like get destroyed, which is great. However, every single person does not need that. Like very rarely does an individual person need their own grass lawn, because 85% of the time it's just sitting there. I think a better utilization of it would be to instead have people like let their yards turn into meadows of sorts, and then have a community park in neighborhoods that it, depending on the size of the neighborhood, there could be more of them, but like have a community park that has the grass lawn so you can run around. You can run around in it, and your dogs can run around, and then children can play games together. And I think it would be better because then if you want to go and run around, you go to the local park, and since everyone in the community is going towards that park, that means it's like a natural getting together point, which I think would help encourage kids to play with each other in a neighborhood. I think that would be nice. So, yeah, there's different types of grasses, and the grasses that are brought to America are from Europe. So the biggest problem with grass is, I found a fun map from NASA, which is essentially for every population center in America, there's a grass lawn. Like the amount of size of grass lawns directly correlate with the population. And this is true even in desert areas where there should not be European grasses, because European grasses rely on a colder environment that has more rain, so we should not have desert areas having grass like this. But there is. And because good grass. Part of the thing is Europe has a lot of like the long, luscious grass, and the grass that's native to America is it's like longer and a little bit more tough. So it's not as desirable and soft to walk in. And the original reason why it was brought over was to feed cattle, because cattle cleared out a lot of the underbrush that they initially found, and then the grass that they were trying to feed them was also not quite to their nutrient need. So they needed a grass that worked with the European animals they were bringing over, so they brought over European grass. But because this grass is from Europe, a lot of the growing zones, they require a little bit more babying in order to actually live. Like where I live in the summer, you kind of have to water your grass consistently in order to make sure it stays green, else it'll go dormant and not look pretty anymore. And all of that extra water use is fine for where I live because we live near a giant lake. However, there's areas of the country that baby their grass and use a lot of their water supply for watering the grass when they really should be using it somewhere else. Also, other issue of the grass. The biggest issue of grass, well, some of the bigger issues, is because it's a flat expanse of green, it's almost like a desert in the sense of there's not a lot of food available. The food available is underground for birds, for like worms, but that's pretty much it. There's no seeds, there's no pollinating with stuff, there's any of that is gone because it's a like Timok dairy farm. Oregano is perfect for that grass. I see. Okay. Yeah. So because it's such a monoculture, a lot of the insects and bugs that would normally live in the area just don't anymore. And that was seen as a kind of good thing for a while because they're like, oh, yeah, you don't have to deal with so many bugs during the summer. But then also, because there's not as many bugs, other populations of things are going down because they have nothing to eat. Also, they directly discourage, a lot of neighborhoods discourage having front gardens, like food crops in your front yard, because they think it tanks the value of your neighborhood. So then they get pissy about that. And that's upsetting, because, like, what if people want to grow food? Is it so wrong that people want to grow food in their yard? Oh no, it's not aesthetic. And? That's such a big issue. Another big issue is that, people... Oh, my computer's low again. So, people with their lawns, they over-fertilize them. It's... To put it in perspective, professional agriculture crops like corn and wheat and whatever else, all of that, they use less fertilizer than the general populace does on their grass. I don't know if they're just like, I'm pretty sure they're over fertilizing their grass. And because they're doing that, it's leaching into the waterways and natural water and whatever else. It's just, there's so many more interesting things we could do with a grass lawn. And I agree, there's some nice points about it. Like, it's very nice to lay in, and it's nice to run around in. But also, there's so much of it, and we don't need this much. Also, my computer is, he's kind of pausing here. So we're gonna try and save. I hope the program doesn't crash. That would not be fun. Anyway, I'll end my rant about grass, but that's the other thing I would go toward on cars, specifically trucks, and grass. Welcome back, Bill. You missed my rant about the two things I would go towards. I won't repeat it because the people just listened to a good 10 minutes of me ranting about it. Probably about 10 minutes. Currently, we are hoping that my drawing program won't crash. Hopefully it won't. It's currently taking forever to save, and I'm kind of concerned about it. Sir, please, your big strong computer. Big strong. Oh no. Oh no. Oh boy. I think we're cooked. Can I move the other one? Or is it just... Okay, so that one still works. It's just this specific one for some reason. Okay. Let's try this again. Ooh, okay, that seems to be working. I don't think we're cooked. I think we're good, actually. Okay, thankfully, I think we're good. I don't know if the second window saved me or if it was the second window on this art program that caused it to lag so badly in the first place. No idea. It didn't crash. Okay, awesome. I win. I am winning. Alright, it's saved. We're good. We're all good. No problems here. I am winning. Back to rendering. Little panic there. We spent a good hour working on that. It would have been upsetting to have all of that effort go to waste. Thankfully, it didn't come to that. Maybe my computer didn't like my rant about grass and trucks. Maybe specifically grass, because that was the rant it decided to try and fail on. Not today, buddy. Not gonna let you fail. That'd be rude. How rude of you. We are making a beautiful, lovely drawing, and for you to try and crash on me, how dare you? Maybe it does. Maybe it does have a thing against grass. Any case, how dare? I think this is poise. No. Foot jam. I just thought it was poise because it sounded similar to broom, and I know poise sounds similar to broom, but slightly different. Apparently, foot jam also sounds like broom. Oops. Left that. If you're wondering what that sound was, it was me accidentally unplugging my phone from the computer because I was trying to charge him. If you're wondering, Alyssa, how do you accidentally unplug a phone? How do you unplug it from the computer? You just step on the cord and then the USB pops out. I would not suggest that as the way to unplug your USBs. This water tastes stale. Okay. So I think we're good with rendering the character. So now we just need to do the sidewalk because it needs some imperfections in it. And then also the bench. And I think we're good with the illustration. I think that's how it is. Okay. All right. We're getting closer. Closer to the finish line. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'll definitely have to do some more rendering studies. See how other people render. Maybe watch some videos on it. I think I've looked it up before, and it wasn't the most helpful. They're like, oh, you just need to do shapes. I'm like, I understand that. However, there has to be some sort of trick to it. There's something. Something that I'm not quite getting. It's probably just like, mostly just the application of light and shadows. I think that's mostly what rendering is. It's the difference between a graphic piece and something, and a more painterly thing is just the application of light and shadows. I think part of it is just my current blending tools. I think I need better ones. That will be a later Alyssa's search. Search for better blending tools. And then I think we need texturing. Shadows are good and all, but I think we need cracks and divots and gravel. You cannot see that. How unfortunate. Maybe I should make that darker. It's very subtle at the moment. So, Luna, I know you mentioned working on digital pieces. What kind of stuff do you work on? I'm intrigued. Tell me. I want to know. What kind of things do you make? Can tell from your profile picture that you at least do some people drawings on the occasion. Mostly OCs, and I've been trying to do animation. Ooh, that's fun. Yeah. When I was starting out with animation, the most frustrating thing was kind of knowing what the motion I wanted to do, then not being able to do it quickly. Because my drawing skills, I was still working on them, so then it would take me longer to construct each thing. But then also, I just drew slower. So then I was like all hyped out about a project and getting started on it and being like, ooh, new thing. But then losing steam because new project's no longer so shiny and it's taking long effort and work. How dare it take effort and work? How dare you? You think tree frogs know when someone is looking at their butt? What a question. Really, what a question. What made you think of it? Also, I realized I was zoomed in so much that my details were a little bit too small to see easily. Tree frogs knowing that someone's looking at their butt. I have no idea. Probably not. Or if they do, they're more concerned about you eating them than you looking at their butts, because I don't think they perceive it as the evil, not evil, how do you describe that? Salacious? That's probably not the word. They probably don't perceive that action in the same way humans do. Their morals aren't the same. It's like dolphins. You can't assign your morals onto a random animal, because that's not fair on them. They didn't agree to that. I'm looking at Tree Frog's bottom, and I wonder if he can see me. He can probably see you. I don't think he cares. At least about that specific thing. I start a project, and then literally 10 to 20 minutes later, I get bored and stop, and eventually forget. Do you know what's causing you to get bored? I know for me, but usually the thing that usually gets me to stop paying attention is if it's a little bit tougher than I was imagining, or it's a little bit longer than I was imagining. He just went up past the... Is there a tree frog outside of your house and you're staring at his butt? Stop looking at the poor man. He's just... He's nervous, okay? You're looking at him and you're making him nervous. Stop stressing the poor guy out. He's on the glass and I can only see one side of him. This poor man, he's just being stared at. You know, I'm judging you, but I shouldn't be. I really shouldn't be judging you, because I will definitely just stare at the rabbits in my yard. Like, I'll startle one of them, and I'll just kind of stare at him. And he probably doesn't appreciate it, because he's probably stressed. And we're both staring at each other, and eventually one of us will make the first move. He's probably like in flight or flight mode and thinking this big chase is gonna go on. And he runs into the brush, and I didn't do anything to chase after him. He got all he was ready for the big chase, and I didn't participate. Do you have a notes journal full of cryptic messages, Axolotl? What made you ask that? Was it their vibe? Something they said? Like what made you think that they have cryptic notes? Eventually I forgot. I don't forget things because I write them down. I mean, I write things down too, but like, why specifically a cryptic notebook? I'm not concerned about the act of writing things down, I'm concerned about the crypticness. What makes it cryptic? I think I accidentally hit the Windows key again. Photoshop doesn't like when I hit the Windows key. He gets all concerned. Like, what are you doing? Why are you pressing the Windows key? You want to do something? No, I don't want to do something. We don't need to get up all in it. It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. Don't worry. She has a shadow. It's just in a different layer. We're currently rendering. And I turned off some of the layers so that I could render better. I have this habit where I doodle on literally every paper. Mostly math tests and homework because I get bored. Same. I did the same thing. I have no idea if my drawings were enjoyed or not, but I did a lot of them because I didn't want to do the math test, and I was getting bored with the math test because sometimes I didn't understand what I was doing on the math. I liked making characters and things and stuff and stuff and things. Erasing that a bit because I needed an actual divot, and there was no actual divot to be had. It's the hole in the sidewalk. We need it to act like it. There we go, I think. Yes, much better on the sidewalk. It's looking very lovely. Okay, just need to do the bench, and I might need to fix the atmospheric perspective, and then we're good. Aww. Miss you. Sad that you'll have to go, Luna. Maybe I need some stuff like some leaves floating through the breeze to give it a little bit of motion. Mayhaps. Eventually don't forget some things. You think I know who the Frenchman is? I'm sure that meant something in 2018. What? Remember, you can do anything on the first inch of the page on the side with the holes. Exactly. You can do anything. Did you hear me crack my neck? Because I just did that without thinking, and that was probably not great audio. See ya, Lunar. Thank you. I hope you had a fun time in the stream. You did it. I didn't stand. What are you talking about, Apple Watch? Why are you congratulating me? I didn't stand. Oh, that's funny. I looked over at my Discord panel. I'm stretching, by the way. I looked over at the Discord panel, and it knows I'm streaming. Why does he know I guess it knows when I'm using OBS. Because it has streamer mode. So I guess it makes sense that it but I think I have too many things connected to Discord, honestly. Why does he know? A little odd of you, buddy. He's spying on me? Okay, I lowered the opacity because the shadows were a little bit intense on the girl, but I think I need to go back in and intensify some of the shadows underneath the fish. Because I did like how dramatic that looked. The new Activision CEO. I have heard nothing about the Activision CEO. Or what Activision is for exactly? Do you like the Activision CEO? How is he? Is he good? Is he bad? Are they good? Are they bad? I have no idea. I've heard nothing about this guy. Person. I have no idea who they are. I'm still stretching, by the way. Just want to let you know so that you're like, what, Alyssa? Nothing's happening on the drawing. It's okay. We'll get there back. We'll get back there. Did Crow just disappear, or did they have something to do? Oh, they calling their father. Okay. I missed that. I don't know. I know his company doesn't have the best reputation, and now he's running Discord. Oh, that's what that YouTube thumbnail was for. Earlier today, I was like just scrolling through. I was just scrolling through the just YouTube, and one of the thumbnails was I was like, "Thank you, Discord," or something like that. It felt very much like kind of a goodbye video saying things were fun while it lasted. Thank you. That was kind of the vibe that I was getting from it. So I guess that would make sense if the CEO changed and he was not well liked. Alright, almost done stretching. And then we can get back to it. Just need to finish the bench, and we're good. Dude's over on the bench. Okay. We good. Alright. Brother's looking for his friend's dog in the forest. Just letting you know, your use of brothers does not make that into it is. It implies that looking is the, like, brothers being possessive to looking. Fair enough. Alright, we need to do something with the bench. Now, do we want wobbly lines or do we want straight lines? Probably make sure of both. Maybe I'll do initially straight and then add the wobble. That doesn't seem to make sense, but it will. I need that darker. Oh, that's interesting. When it is not, when the multiply layer is off, this is the dark side of the bench. Intriguing. I think I need to choose a darker color. Dang. Okay. Bench is very red. Guess I can't complain. I'm the one who made it this red. So it's my responsibility that he's this red. I'm just saying. It's very red. It's looking better already. Because we defined where the wood slats are. Is it painted red or stained red? Good question. Probably stained. You know, it's probably painted. I think things are, I don't know. I can't decide. Yeah, probably stained. Probably stained. I think it's the super duper fancy parks that paint their benches. Maybe? Don't know what qualifies as a super fancy bench or a super fancy park and what's not a super fancy park. Okay, and then the lower bit also needs some darker colors. Yes. To make it look rounded. It needs to be rounded. If you were curious, I am using the lasso tool method again. This song's called Chocolate, Part 1. Wonder what Part 2 will sound like. Part 1 was pretty good. Okay. I think I need to add some tiny drawing details. I think I was avoiding this brush because it doesn't perform well at small. Yeah, doesn't perform the best at small scale. So I tried watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine yesterday, but I had a hard time getting into it, mostly because I was watching it on Netflix and it started at season 3. Felt like I was missing a lot of details there. Because that was not the correct starting point, I think. Like, I'm kind of getting a vibe for the characters, but I'm missing some things. It started with moving one of the main characters to a different precinct, which I guess is fine. It's just I didn't get to see his personality with all of the other guys before he moved. So I have no idea what to think of him in his normal role, except for the random audios I've heard him in. See, and I don't even know any of the characters' names. I have no idea who you're referring to. Is he, like, the most basic looking one? Like, is that the guy who started a romance with... I can't remember her name. Jane? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I would have a greater chance of getting into it if I could start from the first season. So then I would know what's going on. I don't think that's too much to ask for. To know what's going on. He has dark skin and it's kind of insane. Which one though? Is he the... Is he the guy who is trying to hold the precinct together as they're moving between different captains? Or is he the guy who got moved to a different department and had to name a pigeon? I don't know. I don't know their names. I'm sure that description would be better if I watched more than one episode, but I've only watched one episode, so that description really doesn't do much for me. I've never seen the show, but I feel like the latter is correct. That man is slightly insane. He was insane just because he wanted to do a job. I don't think it was like the best example of it, because he was just trying to pull the pull the new precinct together, and they were like stopping him to have him help name their new mascot pigeon. Do you think it would be fun to actually get into the show though? Because it has some very good meme audios. I think it would be fun to experience those in person. I think the bench is doing pretty good as a bench. He is benching so much weight. He is champion bencher. Doing fantastic. I think we need more dramatic lighting on this. I probably need to lasso tool at some point as well so I can get a bit of sheen as well. Sheen is good. Oh, this is chocolate part 3. Completely missed when we had chocolate part 2. Now I feel slightly bad because we wasn't paying attention. We are just vibing. And we missed it. Or at least I missed it. Maybe you guys didn't miss it. At some point, I'll probably have to start in the middle of the album too. Else we'll never get to the end. I think this album's 3 hours long? Maybe? I think it's 3 hours long. It sounds kind of correct. Give me a second, I can look. I would say that's a pretty good bench. Alright, let me look. How long is this playlist? 3 hours and 15 minutes. I feel like we have yet to reach the bottom yet. Okay, things to do. Maybe play around with the grass a little bit and fix the atmospheric perspective. I don't think the atmospheric perspective is quite right. It's looking just a bit too digital, I feel like. Like, it's obviously a digital piece, but there's something about it that's not quite right. Okay. I did a bad thing. I baked it in to this layer. So in order to fix it, I need to erase and start again. Okay. I'll learn from my mistakes. That's too big. My computer will hate that. I made the brush too big. 5,000 is a bit too big for the brush. They ran out of gas on one of the four-wheelers. How many vehicles do you have searching for this dog? I didn't realize how big of an operation this search was. Guess maybe I should have. Add a little bit of tufts to the grass, and then we can fix the atmospheric perspective. Just the two of them. Machetes in hand, though. Dang, this is quite the event. Makes sense. I've never had to look for a dog, but I imagine wouldn't want them to get too far, especially if you're in more of a farmland country. So exciting. We're adding Chris. The whole rant about how much I dislike grass and I'm drawing it. Find this. We'll do the atmospheric perspective. I think that will work better. Yeah, that is much better. That works way better. Just fix the sky a bit. You could darker blue at the top. Lighter blue at the bottom. I think we'll have a couple leaves just floating in the air to add a touch bit of movement. Floating around the tree. Not quite on that. You get a little less static. Okay. How are we looking with that? Cool. And I think we'll select. Nope, that's not what I wanted to grab. Zoom out. For me. You guys already zoomed out. Grab background of that. So we increase it. Color burn's kind of scary. That's better. Can add that. Oh, what a little guy. I think we could do some, like some sneaky under shading. Shading. Lighting. Reflective light. So it'd be on the bottom. Okay, one last thing. I think I want to maybe add like a couple of those kind of lines. I'm gonna lower the opacity on them so they're not too obstructive. slight bit of more movement. There we go. Have you considered buying seasonal killfish? What does that mean? What do you mean seasonal killfish? I'm over here almost finishing the piece and then you bring up what is now I gotta Google it. What is killfish? One of these days you guys are gonna give me a bad Google topic and it'll be my own fault. Oh, they're pretty cute. Why are they called killfish? Sorry, killifish. Killifish are a diverse group of quite small but very colorful fish. There's many different species of families, but one of the biggest is the Ruvidal. They originate from Africa, Asia, and North and South America. So everywhere. Okay. What about them? Are you just saying to help feed my fish addiction, I should get a colorful fish? It's a pet fish that you can take care of on your own terms, short lifespan, and you can store dried eggs for months to a few years. Intriguing. I think I'd get emotionally attached to the fish, so I think I would want to avoid getting fish made to die so quickly. Like if I'm going to get fish, I'm just gonna commit to getting fish. I'm not gonna just like get fish that don't have much of a lifespan because I think that's sad. But it is interesting. Are they like puddle kind of fish? Wonder how they evolved to have the dried eggs be able to live for a while without water. Because, yeah, my friend has one of those. I told him to name the fish Oscar Wilde. He said no, but I think it was a missed opportunity, honestly. Hi, Ruth. Welcome to the stream. We just finished the illustration. Well, almost finished. If you guys can think of anything to add. What did he end up naming the fish? It was like something Chompers, I think was the name. I think that was similar to the name. Can't remember off the top of my head what the name of the Oscar fish was. 10 to 20 years. That is a long time for little fish eggs to live without water. It's pretty impressive. A dude in the back flying a kite, some distant birds. Maybe. Oh, for the Oscars lifespan. That makes a bit more sense. I am worried if I add little stuff like that to the background of the fish, it might take away from the fish. But I could add some more wildlife to it. Like maybe I could add a small thing of ants on the sidewalk carrying something. That could be fun. Let's do that. Yeah, yeah, I know. I know. So upsetty at me because I'm. How dare I? Click the Windows key. A frog? I don't know if a frog would work in this location. Maybe a toad, more likely. Got some big ants, small ants, tiny ants. Got them all right here. I probably need something to be eating. A reason for them to be on the sidewalk. Like a random fruit. We could do an apple. The younger one jumped and died. The older one froze because my uncle left him outside during the winter. Oh, that's upsetting. That's not fun. We're making an apple. He is going to be browning in a concerning manner. We need to mess around with rendering on this, so it doesn't look so flat on the page. Purpley background. It sounds like you live on a farm of some sort. That sounds pretty fun. Give the ants little shadows. Am I too zoomed in? Probably. Will they be great? Yes. My brother's messing with cows. I need some context. He is at a friend's place. Other than a fish aquatic life, what other animals do you have? Ah. What is this? That is the entirety of everything. Okay. Okay, I think next up, shadows. To be believable. And to make something believable, we need shadows. The highlight on the stick. And zoom out. How believable is this apple? I would say pretty believable. What is the color of this apple without highlights? Yeah, that's what I need. Without highlights. So I can add highlights in. What layer am I selected on? Nope, that's not right. dark thing here. Yes, yes. Maybe less saturated. And I think we need a drawn edge on this so it looks a little bit more organic. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if I need to mess around with my stream settings, like the output, because I think OBS might be choking some of it. Like, it could be better. So I think maybe my computer could handle it. I don't know if it's like a computer thing or if it's a Wi-Fi thing. Probably a bit of both. I think we're done. What do you guys think? I think this turned out pretty darn cute. And silly. Cute and silly. Which was the goal. Cute and silly indeed. Fantastic. We are succeeding. Alright. This has been a very lovely time, and it was so good to hang out with you guys. I think week for streaming, we'll work on crows, because I'm going to have a lot of crows to be hand sewing. I think I have like, I don't know, it's like approaching 18, I think, of crows I need to. Yeah, you kind of joined in at the end, Ruth. So, yeah, I think next week, be working on some crows. So, I will see you guys then. Thank you again so much for joining. I will post this, the complete illustration in the community tab. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Alright, see you next week. Goodbye.